Hey, DC.
Hey, hey, hey.
Yeah, I think Andres should be joining. He posted something on the channel, the CD Events channel, but he didn't. Yeah.
I haven't checked it yet. Um, okay.
Oh, but another thing I did want to call out, which I'm unsure if you might have been gone that stand up, but Andrea added blogs, so we need to start thinking about
Oh,
blogging.
did he add vlogs or blogs?
Blogs,
Oh,
B
okay.
as
No, no,
boy.
I'll write some. I have a bunch of blogs that I'm like holding.
Ah, perfect.
Um, and I have two Dora blogs, but I wanted to get the conduit stuff out first. And
Yeah,
then I
yeah.
have, well, what do you guys want to blog about?
Oh, I was just gonna recommend the same thing. I was just thinking like doing some like well, CD events like 101, and
Mhm.
then a conduit, like a getting or like
Yeah,
getting into
I got you.
conduit. Yeah, so like just
Okay.
very basic stuff, like get the ball rolling.
I think that can become a focus of mine super soon.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
Yeah, I am super excited right now. Dude, I have the responses, to the
Yeah,
conduit,
yeah.
the responses to the concept, both from vendors. It's just weird. One CTO, field CTO, if that makes a difference to you guys, who saw the plan, said it's the most incredible thing he's ever seen. It's going to change the market in ways we can't even expect.
Oh, great.
Okay, so
That's
that speaks to your work and this commitment of this very tiny group, and doing things. And and David, I hope you don't mind me saying so, but I'm hoping that you'll have some bandwidth to participate as this grows because I think you're going to be really happy with the results, as we go forward. So, oh guys, I'm so excited.
cool. Okay, Andre just did post that he has a conflict, so it's just gonna be
Yeah.
us three, but that should work. Let me get everything cleared off my screen before I share. Ba, ba, ba. Okay, and then let me go to Zoom. Let me share. All right, cool. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes. Hello.
Okay,
Yes,
awesome. Hey,
yes.
David. And we're in August. Okay, and then just to let you all know, I was hoping to get Andre in here because this is why I hadn't changed the calendar date, is because I was gonna tell him about the two time zones, but I'll just ping him on Slack and make the change. So
Okay,
that should just work because he's aware. And he asked about if we're meeting today or tomorrow, but I told him I
okay.
want, yeah. So going forward next week, it'll be all on Tuesday. We will have two SIG groups, one an hour earlier than this current time, and then one probably closer to like 3 hours or so. After that, it will be the American friendly one.
Oh, okay.
So okay, let me copy this. And please add your names.
And we will also remove the SIG implementation meeting because they will merge.
Yes, exactly. I'm already on top of that. So yeah, I will definitely do that. And then what was
Is the
I
link posted in chat? 'Cause I don't remember.
the link for what?
For
Oh, this? Yeah,
yeah. Well,
let
what's
me
the
add it.
title of these? Oh, well, yeah. What's the title of the doc? You know.
I think it's just
Oh
called
no,
C.
thank you. That works.
Yep.
That works. Thank you. You put it in. I got it.
All right, cool. And then okay, so first is status of 0.5. So we had the list here, which I'm gonna go and look at this for this week. So this is a goal of mine. So status is 0.5. We got the me and Andre talked about it. We agree that this is a good 0.5 release with all the items. So we are going to go ahead and start moving forward and implementing and fixing some of the issues that we have listed. So for this week, now that we've gotten the agreement, I'm going to do this remove subject type. So I'll do that sometime soon, and then I'll send it off to you, David and Andrea, to take a look. If that works, David. Let me make sure I'm thinking the right one. Okay, yeah, this is the one that you were thinking, right? Yeah. Has to be over.
Did he say? Do you guys say anything?
No, I don't think. David, are you muted or you busy?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm just reading.
Oh, you're reading the thing for the stat. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I just want to make sure that this is the one that we wanted to actually implement. So can you give me some context on this one in particular, David? Like, so I kind of have an idea of like why you'd want to do this, but I just want to hear it from your side because you typically have a very different use case.
Yes. The reps, yes, the subject types is some kind redundant with the context type, because in the context type we have the subject type and the predicate type, and as we have not a single schema, this to be able to have this type, when we implement, we have to hard code for each classes or implementation to say my type is blah blah blah. So I have a lot of hard-coded value in the implementation. It's mainly because it's redundant. It's a
It's definitely
duplication from
redundant.
the context type, and it means that we have to keep them in sync when we serialize, etc., etc.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain. Yeah, I agree. I think it's completely redundant. Like I was thinking like maybe it makes serialization easier, decent, but I'm like, but you can just get all that information from the type itself. So the context type, sorry, not subject type. So okay, yeah, I can, like I said, I'll do that this
But
week. Yeah, what's up?
It's for the current system where we have one schema per message, because when I try to implement a mega schema with a classical serialization, it's the opposite. I use the field types because serializer often use a subfield name types to know which implementation should be used to serialize or deserialize.
Oh yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
But the main issue is we have a duplication, so we have to remove from one place.
Yeah, I agree.
To remove.
Okay, yeah, that works for me. This is a really easy change. The only issue with it though is it's going to be a fairly big PR in that it's going to touch every file, both the conformance and every single one of the schemas. But like I said, that shouldn't be. I can just actually do that. Whatchamacallit, with like a program to do that to make my life easier. But yeah, that should be pretty straightforward. All right, so can you guys think of any other reasons to keep this? Because I cannot. Okay, so with that, I will go ahead and do that this week then. All right, cool. Sounds good. And thank you for noticing that, David. And then what was Andrea's? Let me see, because he was saying yeah. Okay, so he was just all right. So yeah, I think he was in agreement with you there. All right, that works for me then. And then was there also any other issues that you're wanting to see added here, David? Have you had a chance to look at this list in more in completion, or did this look good to you for a 0.5?
Sorry. No, I didn't look to the full list. Consistency. No, I didn't reread the list since last week.
Okay. Yeah, no. Maybe we should just go over them one to one just to because a lot of these are actually yours. So it might be good, since I have you here now, but good to talk about them. Okay, so what is
Yes, it's the same.
this one?
It's the same purpose. I create the two tickets at the same times. It's also related to duplicate and redundancy, because in the $ID field, we also have the predicate and the subject type as
Where is
part
this
of
$ID?
the first line in the
Oh,
sample.
is this in the schema? Oh, okay, in the
Yes,
schema. Okay. This, got it. Okay.
and yes, and also why there is I mentioned between the subject type and the context type, we have duplication. It's not a full duplication. It's also
Mhm.
part of the argument also in this case, because sometimes it's camel case, in another one is full lowercase or snake case. So it's not, there is no bijective transformation between each. It's why we have to hard code and to create some lookup table into the SDK to have the right value.
Gotcha.
And I use them. I have also the same issue with the file name. In this case, the conformance sample and the name of the file name of the schema,
Mhm.
because I use also them to validate sample, example, etc. So I have some rules and some lookup table to translate value. It means when I receive a random message, how I find the corresponding JSON schema on the file system or the URL, etc. There is a inconsistency between names, etc.
Okay, just so I'm understanding. So you're saying that the content type, right, follows this format today, and you want
Yes.
ID to follow this format so you can easily do that lookup table you were saying. Is that a good understanding?
We could remove the lookup table. My idea is it should be a simple function to go from one field to the other to the other one.
Oh, just by looking at this and parsing it. Okay, that makes
Yes,
sense.
we
Okay.
could use a regular function like I could say snake case, convert to snake case, or convert to camel case, or convert to etc. But today it's not the case, because inside also subject and predicate we also use some standard. Sometimes it's camel case, sometimes it's so
Oh, gotcha.
it
So this
starts
is
to very difficult to go from one to the other, or to infer what is the correct or the expected value.
an inconsistency issue
I,
with.
I mean, by example, to make a link with one of the proposals from DADC, is I receive an event. Inside this event, the only information I have is the context type, by example. How I should find what is the JSON schema to use. So from the context type, I should be able to infer the URL of the JSON schema, or maybe to look at a place somewhere to see what is the URL.
Gotcha. And then am I saying this correctly? Like sometimes it's this, and then other times it might be this, which makes it hard to like reason about or
Yes.
okay. Just making sure. So we have linting rules already. We can actually run a linter, just add a more complex lint rule to always,
No, it's the example is wrong. If I use this in the pipeline run, if we just look at pipeline run,
okay.
in the context ID on the sample, on the go back to the ticket. No,
Okay.
stay on the ticket. If you look, the context type is pipeline run, lowercase, one word in lowercase.
Oh, I see what
So
you're saying.
I cannot infer what is the $ID, because in the case of the $ID, it becomes pipeline dash run.
Right.
Queue.
I see.
And it's the same for the file name of the JSON schema, and it's the same for the sample from the conformance folder.
Gotcha. So the issue is this should be what you're suggesting is get rid of
It should
this.
be a pipe if we want to use a dash instead of dot, just replace a dot by a dash.
Yeah. Well, no, am I understanding what you just said correctly? Like you want it to be this, right?
No, it should be pipe. In fact, we should. It should be pipeline run dash queued, because context type is. It's
Well,
just we should have rules to find from a context type how I should have a function that say, hey, for this context type, apply this function, and you got the URL of the JSON schema or the file name of the JSON schema.
right.
So with the context version, I know what is the version part of the $ID. And from the context type, I could extract the subject, extract the predicate, and create the last part.
Okay.
Maybe.
I guess my question is, what do you want ID to be? Because you said it should follow this format, right? Which is this format now.
I don't know exactly. $ID was used to identify the JSON schema when you have a lot of them. So it's also used as what is the URL of the JSON schema.
What is the URL of the JSON schema? So okay. Sorry, I'm not understanding the use case here. Because it sounds like I'm trying to understand the ticket while trying to listen to you as well. And I'm trying to line things up, but I'm having trouble understanding. So is the issue, I mean, one, it sounds like it is some sort of format issue, but it sounds like it's a little bit more than that. And it's due to the format, you're unable to do what?
It's how to explain differently.
Well, if it's just to go get the schema, it could be just that simple,
yes,
and then
it's that way. It's how to have the schema. I don't today, honestly, I ignore the $ID. I don't use it
you don't use it at all. Okay.
I don't use it. I must use the file name because I import as submodule the branch with a different version of the spec to have the conformance, to have the JSON schema, and I create a function that translates a content type into the path to retrieve the right schema.
Okay. And then, so I guess what I'm wondering is, so you're saying that the context type, which let's say is this, should,
Yes.
because it looks like this, the dashes would be here, right?
Yes. As the example, I propose a format above. It's just a subject. So
okay.
What I mean is it should be the same value everywhere.
Yeah. So this is right? Like this should then be this, right? Which allows you to do that lookup based off the context type.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm understanding that correctly. All right. Should be that way we can.
It's one proposal, but in reality, it should, what will be ideal is also the file name of the JSON schema should follow the same convention as the ID. So we will be able to, I could say, from the context type, know what is the JSON schema,
yes.
maybe what are the conformance,
yep.
etc.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, sorry, that took way longer for me to understand.
No, it took me a minute too. And
But yeah. But now I get what you're trying to get at here.
no, and
Okay, okay.
it's one of those cases because you know that anyway, yeah, no, I get it now. That makes sense. Okay, never mind. Thank you,
All right.
David.
Yep. All
Sorry,
right.
I'm not a very good explainer.
No,
You're
you're
good.
an excellent explainer, man. That's not what was happening. Like everybody doesn't come at things from the same perspective. You're doing things that are very bespoke. And one thing like I've said it before, dude, you're very meticulous in your approach, and sometimes it takes me a second to catch up with what you were actually trying to do, because to you it's just flowing through you, and that's a beautiful thing, man. I love working with you. It's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. So this sounds good. I really like this. Like, I really think this should be done. So I'm going to move this as a little bit higher
Thank
priority. I'll
you.
do the type first because that's just redundant and that's easy to get rid of. But I really like this. I never even thought,
Okay.
to think about that, being able to derive the schema URL.
Right. And so, are we going to say then that as we move this up, are we going to say something about it? I mean, just having it as an ID, is there any reason why it doesn't say that it's the schema specifically, right? That's the only other question I have about it, because I got it once it was like there and it made sense.
Exactly. Same.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's why he's doing it. Okay, no, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That's even better than I thought of. But at the same time, it's from a human readable perspective, right? When somebody else comes to the page, part of that, what helps with human readability is like if it's schema ID or something, like they know what it's supposed to be. Because when the information isn't there and you have to figure out what goes in it, that's when it gets challenging, right?
Yeah, for
We're talking
sure.
about it with the information in front of us. And so it makes sense in that way. But I agree that you should be able to derive it in some way that's like super obvious. Um, but I'm just wondering for the new users or someone finding CD events and going, I wonder how to do this, like
Yeah,
not
how to
getting that
enforce
extra
it.
hint, like put the schema location here. You know what I mean? You guys
Yeah.
develop?
I think what we can do to DC is we can have a test, right? We can have
Yeah.
a test that basically takes this and it
Mhm.
should generate this. And if we go backwards, it should generate this,
There
right?
you go. See, that's why I love my working. Yes. Okay, that works. That works.
Okay, cool. So I'll go ahead and create a test. We'll just make it Python. I think Python will probably be the easiest, or maybe we can just use
Yep.
even
Yep.
JavaScript. So one or the two, but we can add like a little bit of more logic to ensure that these things are correct and enforce when new users come in and start writing their own specs and adding PRs that will be ran against the unit test. So I'll create a new issue for that referencing this one.
Yes, and maybe I was very limited. I limit the scope of this ticket, but in a global way, to extend, as Daddy C mentioned, try to push for more schema, etc.
Yep.
We should maybe define the full URL. I mean, the host name could be part of the first part of the context type, as we mentioned, is CDEvent.dev. I hardcode in the sample. I use the spec version. Why the spec version? I mentioned it as a side question in the ticket. Why it's the spec version as part of the URL and not the version of the format itself? It's what should be able. Maybe it's something that we could discuss with the cloud event integration. I'm not too familiar with cloud event, to be honest, so I don't know
Okay.
if it's part of the stuff. But my first goal is to have consistency. Today, why I
Yes.
create both tickets, it's just for pipeline run. I have three syntax. One is pipeline -run in the $ID. Another one is pipeline run full lowercase in the context type. And in the subject type is pipeline capitalized R run in camel case. So it's why I have to create a lot of transformation just to keep those three values in sync. So in this case, it's for one subject, but we have 20 or more subjects. So
Right.
it introduce complexity into for serialization in SDK.
Okay, let me also add this. I don't know if this will be 0.5 because this is a little bit bigger, but we probably should add it because if we're fixing things, we would definitely want to add it, at some point. But I'll figure it out. I'll figure out some timing and see if we can get testing in to help enforce some of these things. Because yeah, I really like this dynamic approach, which I didn't know was an issue before.
And I imagine that if we, as we discussed last week, I guess, if you restart the work on how to generate JSON schema from Pickle's rules, maybe the function how to define the file name, the $ID, etc., will be implemented and define what that is the function to derive other field from the context.
Yeah, that totally can be done too. So yeah, that is an option. Once we move to Pickle, it'll be a lot easier. But yeah, okay, awesome. Good stuff. All right, so let's go to the next one. So that was the ID and the context type. This is the enum one, so that I think we've discussed this one quite a bit. And we've talked about, moving to an actual moving to Pickle would actually make it more uniform, et cetera, et cetera. Or this is just outcome fields, not an enum. So this needs to be done. I have an open PR for build, which is also an outcome. Outcome is not an enum as well. So this needs to be, oh yeah, he actually references, I think, one of my PRs. Or maybe not. Yeah, I closed it because it didn't do everything. So, okay, cool. So yeah, so this one is just all of the other outcome fields are enums except for content type. I think there's actually another one, but this is the only one that's here right now. But content.outcome is not an enum, so we need to fix that because like you were saying earlier, Dave, we need to be consistent. So, and like I said, if we start adding unit tests, if we see outcome, we can just be like, that needs to be an enum, right? So I think that will really help with that enforcing.
Yes, as fully a side comment on this enum, etc. When I look at your conference, when you do the speech,
talk? Yeah,
the
yeah,
talk,
yeah.
yes, the talk of open source summit. As I said in another channel, I also look at the Open Telemetry CI/CD SIG, and there's something interesting on their side that we could reuse is they try to define value also, what they mentioned, the value of some field, etc., of attributes. It's the name of an Open Telemetry. So they define value of attributes. Maybe it could be interesting to align or to reuse their value. I don't know.
Do you know what it was called specifically?
It's Open Telemetry for, I don't have Open Telemetry CI/CD attributes.
Attributes. Okay, let's see if we can find this.
So that yes, that so they define a set of. So for some of them,
Why is this capital and this not though? That's like bothering me. Maybe there's a reason for that. Either way, okay. Yeah, we can definitely take some inspiration from this to be a little bit more consistent. We were working with them, or we were talking with them for a little bit on some of their ideas. So, okay. This is build, test, deploy. That makes sense. Run sync is interesting. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely something we can think about. Let me also add this to the notes. Where did we go? Actually, I'm gonna move this over. Tasks to enforce. That's, and then this, and then what are we thinking here? Like potentially use the same enums to be consistent. with open telemetry. Is that the idea?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, as long as they cover the same things, I don't see why not. The one difference is we are after the fact. So this looks like pending, executing, final. We'd be finalized, executed, and pended, right? Or fit, or
Yes.
yeah. So yeah, this would need to be a little bit different, but we can probably mimic something close to what they have as well. So okay, cool. I do like that. And then
We could explain why we don't use, as you mentioned, the same value.
yeah. So one issue, it looks like that. CD events is after in fact event happened versus telemetry, which says exactly when something is happening. All right, so I could probably word that better, but it's the idea across. Okay, cool. And then here, version is ambiguous. This one is an interesting one because I agree. Let's see. All right, so spec version. Yeah, because we have two versions. It's like really, yeah, that's not good. And it's like, so here's the thing, right? So if we look at the conformance test, right? Like the thing that we were just on, conformance, artifact deleted. We see that this version is different than this version, right? So it's like the spec got version bumped because something changed. One of the events changed or was added or etc. deleted, what have you, right? So that's why this got version bumped. While these versions remain a little bit more static. Do we care about that? Like, I'm wondering if, like, I understand, like, if you're a consumer and you see, like, let's say you're on 0.2 and an event comes in with 0.5, right? What do you do? Because if we got rid of this version, it makes it a little bit more, much more of an issue, right? And then yeah, they're just saying it's like confusing. They want to rename it to spec version, which might be helpful. I'm okay with naming it to spec version, but I think it might be like when I look at the conformance test, I get confused when I see this version and then this version up here. It's like, why is there so many versions? So yeah.
It's explained on the seat. So if we change this, we will have to update also the main documentation sheet.
Right.
It's
Is
an
spec version important for the actual
no,
schema? Because I feel like
no,
it's not. Yeah.
it's not the case. The spec version is the group is just to say for the 0.5, it's meant for artifact deleted. That is, we use this version and this schema for artifact deleted, etc. It's one way to package a bunch of change. But as we have one schema and one version per message type, it doesn't have a big sense.
Yeah. So what I'm
if we
thinking
go
is
into the mega single one, it becomes far easier to have one version for the full
full set.
But
Okay.
yes,
Let me talk with Andrea on that because that's a pretty big change. And see where we land. Because like I said, having the two versions and then along with it being, it doesn't really say what the version is of, like, it being a spec version. I think that user's absolutely right. It's confusing. So yeah, let me sync up with Andrea on because I remember when I first talked to him, the very first day I met him, and he talked about this separate version for the artifact or for the events themselves, and then the spec version. I was like, well, that seems way too confusing, and I wasn't a big fan of it then. So let's see. Okay, so I'll ping him, and we can discuss what the next steps are for that. I will.
And the other side issue of this discussion will be how to define the $ID that we mentioned previously.
Right.
Because in this $ID or this JSON schema URL, we use the spec version today and not the event version, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we'll think about that. But like I said, let me first ask Andrea, sync up with him, and see where we land. Because I think, as more people look at it, like if you can't read a spec and it like it read easily, where there's like two, like if you start asking too many questions, like what the heck is version, why is there two versions, that means there's something inherently wrong with the spec and something needs to change. What needs to change is still up in the air, but it should be easy to read. Otherwise, you're going to lose people, like we saw with that one user. So okay, that is something that we need to do. So I will ping Andrea on this. Then okay.
And also on my side, it will be maybe part of the paid version of the tool I work on. I will integrate some kind of migration translator for between version of schema. And today it's a bit difficult. I have to mention, because I mainly use the spec version. Why? It's because it's part of the spec that I know that we rename URL to array, so I can do a bunch. I can have general transformation rules instead of having rules per message type.
Right. Okay.
It's just to mention that in my case, but not for everyone, it means that when we will do some kind of release, we'll have to, at some point, create a migration guide.
Right.
To help people understand what changed between 0.4 and 0.5, for example.
Yeah. I mean, that's always going to be an issue in any piece of software.
Yes.
But that's the whole point of like semantic versioning is to make that as easy as possible. So like obviously when a major version happens, that you are in for a bunch of changes, right? And then usually breaking changes. So I think as long as we follow that pattern, we should be okay. But you're right. Figuring out how to remediate that. But it should be transparent to the users, right? They should just be able to pull in the new SDKs and it would just like work, right? Like, why would they need to know how to transform anything, right? Or is this more for us, David?
Yes and no. In the case of CDEvents, I store in the evidence store in the database the raw JSON schema, and I extract information from sorry, not the raw JSON schema, but the raw JSON for the event. So when we create query against all those data, we need to know what is the value of outcomes, what is etc., to be able to make some graph and metrics.
Right.
And where to find the information into the schema. And if we have several versions of a schema, maybe have a tool that will translate old message or have a way to query old and new message.
Right. Okay. I still think that should be probably transparent to the user. What I mean by transparent is like they should just start, they, have like that's more up to the tool to figure out how to remediate that, not the user, right? The user shouldn't be trying to figure out how to do anything, right? Like they should just be able to like query for whatever information, and it should just get or get the information that they sought after, right? So, but okay, but let's think about that some, because it is
It
interesting.
will be part of the tool to be able to work with different version of different different version of different spec. Simple example, the one of the purpose is to grab information from a lot of tools, as you mentioned in your introduction, in your talk, and all those tools maybe don't use the same spec version. TestCube use the version 0.3, and they don't upgrade to a more recent version. For GitHub, I create something that generates 0.4 message, etc., etc. And sometimes, and both of them can generate test result. Or maybe it's hard-coded into a pipeline that to push message in one version. So it's also why I say that at some point in the plumbery, we will have to translate, migrate message. So on the outside, customer could make consumer of the message should be able to handle both version transparently. On React, it's the case for, by example, maybe Conduit will only support the latest version of the spec. So it means that we will have to do some kind of transformation at some point.
The tools, yeah, but I still don't think that's going to be the true for the users. But okay, but yeah, like I said, I'll need to think about it some more. Like I said, I haven't thought that deeply on that particular issue. Because I've always been under the impression that that's more of a tool specific thing. But who knows? I might think about it and be like, oh, maybe this is going to be an issue for our users, but we can figure it out.
Today, for my user or tools, it's just an issue because I query directly the JSON, because the format is not clear, is not defined, and I don't want to create my own format to hide the current. I start to create in some view, but I don't want to create a bunch of formats just to duplicate the work, the existing work.
Right.
It's always the discussion of should I create my own layer of abstraction above an existing layer, etc.
Yeah, that's going to be another massive amount of work, right? So I don't know.
Yes.
But yeah. Okay, well, let me think about that, Tom. Because I think it's definitely going to be service and tool specific. And depending on how you expose the data to the user, then yeah, like we could even group users. Like you're going to have like everyday users, then you're going to have power users. The power users might care, right? They are like deep in the JSON, deep in the schemas, so they might be the ones that that this might be an issue with. So like I said, let me think about it some, and we can bring it up maybe, yeah, we could bring it up next week after I thought about it a little bit. And then let's go over to the last issue, which is just consistency. As we know, the spec, the schemas, they have some consistency issues. Like build, run, task run. We have like these runs, and then build doesn't have run, test case doesn't have run, these don't have run. It's like, so it's like, and then these are like nouns, and then this is like a verb. So it's like, I don't know, it's been so I think what the plan was moving forward is that we append run to all of them. I think that's what Andrea wanted. So yeah, but I'm over the favor to use nouns. Like I'd rather use nouns, but because subject is typically a noun, right? Well, I guess the pipeline run is a noun because it's like the run of the pipeline. So I guess that's a noun. So it's not that big of a
Why don't we
deal.
make run just like wait, subject and predicate. Like, no, because I get it. Okay, never mind. Sorry. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, but I was
I agree with the
thinking the same thing as
normalization.
you, DDC. Like I was like, oh, maybe we could do something, with like
Right, where it's like task run, task
yeah,
dot run.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and everything's built out, right? And then we just add the dot and then, but I know that's kind of a cheap way to do that. And it was an at a glance response. This is probably, you mentioned the other one where it was like, a lot of cleanup. Um, but I don't know that I would be able to get to that anytime soon, but I do want to, I would love to have some input into that long term, because that's really going to impact, going forward conduit, because I've got to keep thinking about that as we iterate on the CD events, which is
Okay.
literally what I'm here. So
Okay.
I will be really, really heavily focused on this stuff this week, so it's all good.
Okay. All right. Cool. And then so David, did you have an opinion on adding run to the end of these just to make it consistent?
No opinion. It's my English level is not good enough, I could say.
Okay.
But pipeline run is, when I work, is clearer than just pipeline, just to mention.
Right.
Because the pipeline is the definition.
Yeah, I
And the
wish
run
run
is,
wasn't. I think because the issue, like here's the issue right here, which Emil says build can be interpreted as a verb, right? That's the issue with run. In this context, actually how it's used is not a verb, which when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, this is technically a verb, but it's not. It's actually a noun because you're talking about the execution. So if this was
yes,
pipeline execution, but that's really long, right? So it's like that run is better because it's short, but that also is confusing because run can be also interpreted as a verb. So it's like I don't know.
yes, exactly. On my dashboard, I create a generic dashboard name execution.
Oh, you do.
For pipeline,
Gotcha.
task, build, test suite.
Yeah, I think execution is better, to be honest. But I don't want to go and change like everything.
No.
We just need to decide if we want to add run to all of them or just keep it as is. But we definitely want to go with consistency. So we definitely need to think about it and figure it out. Not head for a more associated pride. Didn't want to read the rest of this. Yeah, well, the thing is, right? Like if we go to pipeline run, what is the subjects or the predicates? Run, queued,
Queued,
started,
started,
finished.
finished.
The reason why Andrea was against just using like the single noun, the pipeline, is because you can have like pipeline created, and then that's different from like an execution, right? So it's
Yes.
like, okay, let me think about this some as well, because like I don't think there's a real good solution. And like I said, run can also be interpreted as a verb. So like the argument that Emil used that build can be interpreted as a verb is why we should change it is not is not really gonna work. So yeah, but for consistency matters, we need to choose something. So yeah, let me think about that some and then we can address it. I'll talk to Andrea as well, and then we can have a
And in
full.
the case of pipeline and task, you have a second level, for example, on GitHub. Maybe it's also the case on Jenkins. A pipeline run is an execution for a commit for one trigger.
Oh,
But in reality, it's the definition of a pipeline run. But you can rerun a pipeline run. It's an attempt. So you retry when it's what we do when we maybe have some context issue or issue on the runner.
right.
So it's a retry. I flat both concepts. So in my case, a pipeline run is in fact an attempt of one run of a pipeline. But just to mention that depending on the tools behind, the way we map the concept to one things could differ a little bit. We could have different interpretation of what is a
run
pipeline.
means. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, now that's just us not being opinionated, which I still need to like write that doc, but I've just been so busy. Okay. All right. So yeah, a lot of things to think about. Okay. Well, that's all I had for 0.5. We have a lot. So I'm gonna, like I said, get this done soon. And then I'll ping you folks, and then you guys can take a look. This was relatively easy. It's just a lot of grunt work, but was there anything else that anyone wanted to bring up, and we can close out?
No, we can close. It's
Okay.
for me.
All right. Well, thank you, Dedisi and David. I'll talk to you guys next week then.
Well, yeah, I think you might talk to me sooner.
I'll talk to you literally in like an hour. Dedisi, but yeah. All right.
All right, ciao,
bye,
bro.
everyone.
And just to
Yeah.
answer one of the questions of Dadisi, why we ask also for a blog post and why Andrea shared the link, it's because I would like to maybe create a blog post or made some change on the site to reference the tool I created, CDEvents, etc. It's why Andrea shared the info with us.
I'm sorry, I could barely hear you. You were very low.
I created a tool named CDEvents,
Mm-hmm.
and it's to promote, because I would like
Yeah,
to sell it.
yeah, you want to blog it?
It's why Jean-Andrea shared the link.
Yeah, you want to write a blog about it, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes,
no, that's
I will
fine.
try.
Yeah.
I'm rewriting the documentation since yesterday, so
Okay.
part of the
All right.
documentation.
All right. Ciao.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody. And then, yeah, I'll talk to you guys later then. All right. Have a good one. All right. Bye, everybody.